So good morning. Good morning around our region. And we have our four CEOs with us this morning. I see Teresa King-Kinney, Linda Anthony, Wayne Carter, and Darla Fry-Guerverman. So everyone's here, and I see some of our presidents. So if everybody wants to give us a little thumbs up, we're ready. And thank you. And typically at this point, guys, we would be at the end, almost the end of our exciting conference, and everybody would be caffeine up and power drinks and everything else, and coming in probably in some flip-flops and comfy wear and thinking, well, maybe I'll stay an extra day and I'll kind of relax a little before going back to reality. But so let's keep that in mind. And of course, again, our beautiful ocean, our Keys friends will send us some more, hopefully sunshine. They say we're going to get a little bit of some rainy weather, so we need to have all of you do that. So Michael and all the presidents, please send us some sunshine, and we're sending you a lot of love. And to start with this morning, we couldn't have anyone better to start with, but the one and only, our general counsel, our VP of Law and Policy with our own Florida Realtors organization. And one of the things that I've been doing these last couple of days is talking about the P for pandemic. And with Juana, what I can say is the words that came to mind: providing us a pathway to safety, to the public safety, to the realtor safety, with clear, consistent guidance, and really the understanding of the realtor safety, the needs that we have. There's a passion there that when you watch the videos and you're fortunate enough to spend time with her, which I have been each time we've gotten onto a caucus for the entire state, and you feel it, you see it, and it's on a state level. You could see that she's bringing it from the big picture around the country to our state, and then all the way into all the different regions around our great state. So without any delay, we're going to bring on the one and only Juana Watkins. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I hope that the passion that you hear and sense is the result of the fact that I really and truly feel like a very lucky girl to be able to do the job that I do. I love this industry. I love this part of my job in particular. Pathway to Safety, I think, is an excellent way to capture what we want to do here at your Florida Realtors Law and Policy section. That's every legal hotline call is an opportunity for that, right? To bring the member that is calling about the dilemma that they have to safety. So thank you for this opportunity to do just that. And so, I love this virtual environment. It has given me a great opportunity to do more of this type of outreach. It has given me an opportunity to showcase an incredible bench. Some of you may have seen Joel and Maria and Marcia and Meredith and Shannon out virtually doing these presentations. And we hope to be able to do even more while maintaining our mission of taking hotline calls. Brad is always great at telling you what's happening from an economics and a statistical point of view. The hotline is great because it's like confirmation of what Brad is seeing, but we get real-time information, right? What's happening right now in the field. And so I will tell you, June of 2020, we had a dramatic increase in the number of calls that we received over June of 2019. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 7,300 phone calls in June of 2020, compared to about 6,200 calls into the hotline in June of 2019. So it's busy right now, folks. And so we are glad to be able to talk to you in that way and in this way as well. So if you've heard a presentation lately, you have heard me talk about fair housing. You know, one of the great things about fair housing is we know it well in this industry. One of the dangers, though, in the world that we are in now is the fact that as much as I enjoy being able to get out there and have these sessions with you, we do run the risk sometimes of perhaps being a little bit repetitive in the content that we bring to you. And so we do have to try to switch it up a bit. If you give me just a moment, I'm going to share my screen because I've probably talked to most of you about fair housing recently, but I do want to talk to you and give you an update on some of the things that we've been talking about recently. Bear with me, I apologize. I'm getting better with this technology stuff. There we go. So I don't have to do very much in terms of background because we know fair housing well in this industry, right? We get it, protected classes, race, color, religion, national origin, sex, handicap, familial status. In South Florida in particular, you have heightened responsibility under fair housing for source of income as realtors, sexual orientation, gender identity under the Code of Ethics is also a part of your professional responsibilities. But what I want you to think about as I update you on some of the topics we've talked about before, you know, we're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth today, is keep in mind that fair housing deals with denying and limiting services just as much as it deals with the ultimate denial of housing. And that's where, as professional service providers, I want you to think about your role, not just the role of the landlord or the owner in making the ultimate decision to approve or deny the tenant, but also in how you provide services to potential customers, okay? That's the focus that I want you to think about fair housing in this new age, because we understand that it's not okay to steer or to deny based on protected classes. But we also have to embrace the reality that as service providers, you have to provide the same level of services to persons in protected class statuses. And that's where we are seeing the liability for our members. You want to make sure that as a part of, you know, kind of guarding your office against fair housing claims, that you are aware of not just intentional discrimination, but also unintentional discrimination under what they call a disparate impact theory. This is where we are seeing the majority of the liability right now for our members. An example of that is this whole criminal history screening that is causing so many members to face liability right now. This deals with not where the owner will say, you know, I don't want to rent to someone of a protected class, but where as a service provider, you have a process in place dealing with the screening of the tenant that can cause an unintentional violation of fair housing. This could be the refusal to make the necessary reasonable accommodation to someone who has a disability, like the emotional support animal or service animal area, where we again see quite a bit of liability for our members, okay? So we're going to talk about that. And just make sure that you are prepared to answer the appropriate questions in the appropriate way when you are asked about these concepts within your office, because it is the answering of these questions sometimes that will get the member in trouble. Now, testers, whether we like them or not, they are a legitimate aspect of fair housing. They are used by the Department of Justice, but they are also used by attorneys in this state, the legal trolls that we talk about over and over again, who go out and blanket the state with demand letters and clog the court system with lawsuits against you. So testers are, a legitimate aspect of the Fair Housing Act compliance program in this country. So you have to be prepared to deal with these testers, as Mark said, safely. Now, I'm going to start with the biggest area of liability right now for our members. And this surprises people because they're focused on website issues and things like that, and we should be. But in this industry, I've said before, and I'll say again, we can't miss the forest for the trees. As professional service providers, you have to be focused on the forest and the trees. And in this instance, these screenings of tenants with criminal histories is the #1 area of liability for you right now. If you do not do property management, or leasing, you're probably going to be okay. But if you do, particularly if you just do it here or there, because your policies are not going to really be well defined and tight, this is an area of concern for you. So 2019, this really landed on our radar. We sent out an all member alert because we realized that there's a tester here in Florida, Mr. Chambers, who was calling up our members with a sob story about being a convicted felon and not being able to rent a place here in the state, and having spent hundreds of dollars in application fees to be denied. He just wanted an idea as to whether or not he might qualify for a place to live. Now, if you've heard this story before, I'm sorry. But you're going to understand that this is a story we got to talk about again, because keep in mind, we get sometimes thousands of new people into this industry. So if you're a broker right now listening to me, chances are you've hired quite a lot of new people since we talked about this last summer. So new people in the room or on the screen in particular, listen up. This is an area of concern. That was last summer. This is this summer in the middle of a pandemic. So if you heard me a month ago talk about this, I said, hey, here's a docket from March to June of all the cases where Mr. Chambers and his attorney, Joshua, are back at it. And they are filing complaints in actual lawsuits now, not demand letters, lawsuits in the federal court system, saying that Mr. Chambers has been discriminated against, even though he does not intend to rent not one of these properties. Mr. Chambers has been discriminated against because of the fact that he has a criminal background and he's not being given an opportunity to rent property. So this is the slide I would have shown you. Now, I've added to this as of last night, plus 21, because the slide when I created it went from March to June of 2020. Since June 16th, 2020, he has filed an additional 21 lawsuits. And that's 6 weeks, folks, 7 weeks, an additional 21 lawsuits in federal court against real estate companies for this same thing. He is busy, all right? So this is why we're talking about this today, because it continues, it persists. And I didn't just look at the numbers, I looked at the complaints from August of 2020, because I wanted to see, what is he saying? What is he actually alleging happened? Interestingly enough, he is saying that he went to advertisements. He found advertisements in particular that said no criminal history. And he called the broker who alleged no criminal histories allowed in the ad. Now, keep in mind, although he's suing the brokerage, he never spoke to the broker. He spoke to the agent, but he's suing the brokerage, the deep pocket. And he's alleging that after seeing that in the ad, he called to verify. And he was told that the no criminal history policy is that of the homeowners association. So it would not be good for him to apply. All right. So that's the most recent allegation. I picked the most recent because I wanted to tell you what he's alleging, right? So didn't sue the homeowners association, didn't sue the agent, sued the brokerage. Can you deny a tenant with an extensive criminal history? Yes, you can. But basically, HUD has said, because of the realities of our criminal justice system and the disproportionate involvement with minorities and the criminal justice system, if you have a policy that says no criminal histories allowed, it is tantamount to having a policy that discriminates against persons of a protected class. Now, that is what we mean by disparate impact, unintentional violations of the Fair Housing Act. It does not mean, though, that you cannot screen a tenant for criminal history. What it means is you give everybody entry into the process. You do not discourage people who want to apply. You do not put in your advertisement bans that may be discouraging to people of certain protected classes. You give them a right to apply, just like everyone else. And if they give you a sob story, that's unfortunate. If the association is going to do a background check, don't say the association has a criminal background prohibition. Say the association will have additional screening procedures. Please contact the association to determine those procedures. Send them to the original source. As we say, be the source of the source. Don't be the source. All right? Consider the risk to the safety of the property and the people in the neighborhood. If the person is an arsonist, don't put them in the property, okay? Because they're probably a threat to the property. If they're a child molester, don't put them next door to a house with families with kids. This is probably going to be a problem. All right, so you can deny based on legitimate concerns about risk to resident safety and property, but consider the circumstances. I won't go through all of these because I want to take your time, take your questions, but you need to look at it on an individual basis. The circumstances, the facts, the crime itself, look at it on an individual basis, but make sure your policies and procedures are consistent across the board, person to person. Don't make exceptions for some and not others, all right? Now, recently we published, and I'm gonna go there first, we published this tool for you to help you understand why the advertisement is now the new gateway to liability. You all understand when you're dealing with customers that every single time you are providing that service, it is a potential risk. You're careful about what you say and how you interact because you're mindful of your professional obligations. But your advertisement can be just as much a gateway to liability as that personal interaction. So please be careful, not just in dealing with the customer directly, but also in how you advertise. There are certain words that you want to stay away from. Obviously in South Florida, you know you will not put in your ad, no Section 8 allowed, because you have source of income protection there. So you also want to make sure you're not putting in your ad no criminal histories or no felonies, because it is going to trigger the Mr. Chambers of the world, all right? So be very careful with that. Now, moving on to our next topic. I'm not going to beat this horse to death because chances are, again, you've heard me talk about this issue, but it remains an issue. And I want to give you a little bit of an update on where we are with this because I know some of you have received these demand letters from a particular attorney here in Florida. I wanted to let you know that this is no longer officially a Florida issue. The Portel Law Group, who sent these demand letters related to violations of the Fair Housing Act for website accessibility claims, has expanded her sites to to other states. So realtors in other states have started receiving these demand letters. So we have, as recently as Wednesday, met with Katie Johnson and members or the attorneys for those other states. And we are working on a uniformed approach, just because strategically, right, it makes sense as an industry when you are presented with something new and novel legally to kind of circle your wagons and come up with a unified strategy. And so that's what we're doing. Unfortunately, these are individual claims against individual members, right? Individual threats of legal action. She still has not filed any of these lawsuits in court, unlike Joshua and Mr. Chambers, who filed them every day. Ms. Portel has not filed any of these lawsuits. So we are monitoring that every single day. But remember, we're not going to miss the forest for the trees. We're not going to be so turned off by the tactics of blanketing the state with demand letters that we stop talking about the issue of web accessibility. Because, as we've discussed before, fair housing and Ms. Portel's approach is novel, right? So as an industry, we are not conceding at all that this is appropriately alleged as some Fair Housing Act violation. And there's no case law in a court anywhere in the country that supports that theory. However, there are tons of cases being filed, again, every day in Florida and across this country that state that ADA does apply to websites. Now, there are still legal arguments to be had there, right? We are not, again, conceding that in all instances, the ADA is applicable to all aspects of your website. So I don't want to send the message that there's no argument to be had, even as it relates to ADA claims. What I will say, though, is that this is a well-litigated area. Okay, there are lots of cases that have gone to appellate courts in the federal court system about ADA website accessibility. This shows you that in 2017, across the country, there were 814 cases. In 2018, that number had jumped from 814 to 2,258. So lots and lots and lots of ADA cases being filed. So I explained to you before, if you've heard me talk about this, that while Ms. Portel has not filed one of these Fair Housing Act claims in federal court, the most prolific filer of these cases here in Florida, the most active tester, Ms. Lucius, who files ADA website accessibility claims, has filed nearly 250 of these cases in the last 2 years. So let's say you heard me talk about this a month ago. I showed you this docket, and it is a sample of a docket that runs from May 4th to June 22nd. And you'd hear me say, if you've eaten there, slept there, been entertained there, worn the brand, Ms. Lucius has filed an actual lawsuit in federal court against that company. That was through June 22nd. So again, last night, because I wanted to bring you more relevant information, I looked at the docket. Since June 22nd, she has filed 26 additional lawsuits here in Florida under the ADA for website accessibility. So if Ms. Portell decides she's done with Florida, she's collected enough settlements and she's moving on to other states, we're certainly not going to abandon our efforts to make sure that we insulate ourselves, because if you settled with her or if you discuss settlement with her, you will know that her settlement agreement is only for 9 months. So she'll just continue coming back the way Ms. Lucius does, right? So this issue is not over by any stretch of the imagination, but I want us as an industry to continue to work on web accessibility, because even with Ms. Portell expanding her horizons to other states, we still have the Ms. Lucius and others like her who have made a significant amount of money filing these lawsuits and settling these claims against major companies here in Florida. So web accessibility must continue to be a topic of discussion for us. The law is not clear. We're going to continue to work on that effort. Not only did we meet with NAR Legal, we met with members of their public policy team. We've met with members of our public policy team to make sure that it is clear that this is an area that we need to continue to discuss, okay? So if I was in the room with you, I'd introduce this topic and I'd pause for dramatic effect just so that I can hear the groans that always come whenever I say the phrase emotional support animals. Yeah, I'm sure some of you groaned in your living rooms, offices, because it is such a difficult topic, because it is another one of those areas, much like the legal troll abuse we just talked about. It is an area ripe for abuse. So why are we talking about more abuse, Juana? Well, I actually, in this instance, have a little bit of good news to share with you. We have made some tremendous progress here in Florida of hopefully addressing some of this abuse. Just by way of review for the new folks that we welcome into the industry in the last year or so. In June of 2019, this was one of my favorite slides. It's a New York Times article about one of our Floridians and his emotional support duck prima donna. And so it was a story that talked about how states are starting to crack down on the abuses of folks going online and purchasing certificates to certify every manner of animal creature as an emotional support animal. And so I love to point out that not only is the picture interesting, but the language here is also very interesting. It talks about the variety of animals, and it says dogs, ducks, and even insects had been certified as emotional support animals, even insects. And so that's kind of where we were a year ago, and we're still there to some extent, but help is on the way. So a little bit of review. This is another one of those areas where it falls under both the ADA and fair housing. Okay, so ADA is pretty clear. That's where the term service animal comes from, really. These are dogs and small horses. It's pretty well defined. These are animals that are specifically trained to perform specialized services for the person with a disability. Pretty well defined. You know, we understand seeing eye dogs, seizure dogs, things like that. When it comes to emotional support animals, though, under the Fair Housing Act, not quite as well defined, in the sense that it does not limit it to a particular type of animal. And there is it doesn't quite define the animal as performing a particular type of service the way that service animals do. It is, though, kind of recognized as an animal used to treat depression, anxiety, or some other type of emotional health condition of the person seeking to have the emotional support animal. So in the case of Prima Donna, this tenant, after moving in, had asked for Prima Donna to be an emotional support animal. The landlord originally said no. The tenant gave the landlord a certificate from a service provider that they saw online. The service provider was out in California. The landlord said, no, you're not going to give me some California certification. I want you to see somebody here, person to person, like in person, face to face. And the tenant did, and the landlord still said no. And so Prima Donna's owner lawyered up, and they pursued the matter with HUD, and ultimately the tenant was allowed to have Prima Donna. So basically what I want you to remember here and is that if the tenant has an apparent disability, you do not get to ask for any type of documentation for the need for the animal, right? So that's been the case, and that's still the case even under the new legislation that Governor DeSantis recently signed into law here in Florida. So what changed? Well, I want you to take a look at the documentation portion of this new law. It is still the case that if it is not an apparent disability, the housing provider can ask for additional documentation. That can be in the form of a letter from a physician, a social worker, or a psychologist. You still cannot ask for medical records, but we have a couple of new tools for you to help you understand this new law. The letter that comes from the doctor, the social worker, the therapist, now must come from a therapist, a social worker, or a medical provider with whom the tenant has let's just call it a pre-established relationship. It cannot be a certificate that is purchased offline from someone who has had no prior relationship with that tenant, okay? So that's the difference now. The new law is designed to specifically target the online purchasing of certificates. We don't have time to go into all the details, but I wanted to point out a couple of tools we have available to you. One is an article that we wrote about the new law, and another is a video, a short video that we recorded that will explain this new law in great detail to you. So if you do not have those resources, please, please, please go to floridarealtors.org and take a look at those, because they'll be very helpful. Now, please do not own the decision of the denial of the tenant. This is the owner's decision. And the reason it needs to be the owner's decision is because denying an emotional support animal, even under the new changes, is risky business, folks. Remember, I started with insects. Well, I finish with Wally the alligator, who is an approved emotional support animal. If you are thinking of denying an animal, please think of Wally, all right? Really quickly, what's happening with FREC? Couple of things. Just giving you an idea of where we are as an industry. We have about, as of the end of May, these are the most recent reports we have, 423,000 licenses in all categories outstanding. That number has not dropped off. We usually see a drop in April, but it did not, because renewals are extended until December 31st. So no one was set to null and void. No one lost their license through lapse because of the renewal that took place on March 31st. So the highest number of licenses that I think anybody can recall. This is the application count, 4,749 in May of 2019, down to 2,363 in April of 2020. So we'll have to watch very carefully and see the long-term effects of COVID on the application numbers and on the examination process. The exams as of August 4th can now be taken from the comfort of the applicant's home. So hopefully that will facilitate getting new people into the industry. There are security measures in place, do not worry, to keep the applicant from cheating, so fear not. These are the enforcement numbers. As you can see, they're the complaint numbers up and down month to month. There's no rhyme or reason. As low as 230 in recent months, as high as 420 complaints to the Real Estate Commission. So very, very inconsistent numbers, which is common, as you can see from the charts. Unlicensed activity numbers have gone up, ticked up fairly substantially in recent months. February, they had a low of 30, and each month since then, it has gone up substantially. 63 unlicensed activity complaints in May. So those numbers are increasing. Audits and inspections have pretty much come to a grinding halt because of COVID. So we'll keep an eye on that program and notify you whenever they start to work on that. Wanted to give you a couple of interesting tidbits of information from the Real Estate Commission. If you do not have the mobile app, you should download it. You can verify the status of the license of anyone that you are working with by downloading this mobile app. It's there for you to download from both the App Store for mobile, for Android and for Apple. Also, this is how you file a complaint. Again, I'll provide these slides to Letty and you can feel free to have them. These are Florida Realtor slides, so they belong to you. This is the page to tell you how to file a complaint. You would click where it says click here to file a complaint. Complaints can be filed by mail, by fax. They can actually be filed online now. That's new. They didn't previously allow actual online submissions, but they do now. Remember, they can be filed anonymously, but they put this in bold here because they want you to understand that whatever you send is a matter of public record. In this, if it is unlicensed activity, it is public record, so anyone can see it. If it is against a licensee, keep in mind that the person that you file against will receive everything that you send, everything, including the envelope, the fax number, everything. So do not send it in a way that they can verify that it came from you. A couple more things really quickly. If you're filing an unlicensed activity complaint, you actually, oh, interesting, it transposed. You can actually do that by calling the 1-800 number or by reporting unlicensed activity through the app. And then finally, something that I get asked about all the time that has been talked about in the context of our professionalism efforts, the naughty list, the disciplinary activity report is what it's called. People say, Juana, why didn't FREC tell us the people who got in trouble anymore, right? So if you really want to know what folks are getting in trouble for, if you want to follow the types of cases that FREC is issuing discipline for, or if you just want to know if somebody in your area has been in trouble, you may do so by going to the Florida Real Estate Commission page. You go to the commission information page, and down here where it says disciplinary activity report, you click that. FREC has archived, actually 2005 is cut off here, but all the way back from 2005, they have a PDF report of all the discipline they have issued. And it looks like this. So it will have the area of the state. I tried to find one where there's nobody in South Florida. They have the area of the state, they have the case number, the person's name, and they actually tell you what they got in trouble for and the discipline. So if you ever want to see the infamous naughty list, they don't mail it out anymore, they don't email it, but it's there posted on their website. So a little bit of tidbit of interesting information for you for sitting through this not so interesting presentation with me this morning. That said, thank you so much for your attention, and I am happy to answer questions about the things I've talked about or anything else that we have time for today.
Thank you so much, Joanna. I'm taking a look now, and of course, we definitely want to open it up. We have time, guys, and if Joanna has some time for questions, we would love to. I'm going to take a look at that. I'm going to see that the first one, let's see. Jamie. So Jamie asked, what about for guests in vacation rentals that the property is adult only? Can you say adult only?
So, hey, Jamie, thank you for that question. Here's what I recommend with that one. Love you guys too. The point of the adult only is that it looks like familial status discrimination when you say adult only. And quite frankly, it is familial status discrimination, but it's allowed familial status discrimination, because what you're doing is really saying that you don't allow children, and that is a protected class that you are kind of discriminating against. But there is a legal, let's call it a loophole, or it is allowed if the community is an actual community formed and legally designated as a 55 plus community. Okay, sometimes it's a 62 and older community, so there are no children whatsoever. But for the most part, what we see here in Florida is a 55 plus community. What I recommend you say to avoid triggering the tester is 55 plus community, right? Like, I wouldn't say adult only. I've seen it. It's not per se illegal to say that, but I would say 55 plus community, because you actually, that has a legal significance, right? It has a meaning in the law. So I would recommend in your advertisements, use the term 55 plus community. And for your records, if the owner tells you when you list the property that it is either 55 plus or 62 and older, I would say, give me something that I can stick in my files so that you have something in the event that you are accused of familial status discrimination. You have something that shows the proper formation or designation of that community as a housing for elderly.
Thank you so much. A lot of we love you, Joanna.
You guys, I wish we were together in person, but
I know. And then Peter Leon, what if the association says 20% down to purchase? Is this an issue? And he says, thank you, stay safe.
I guess we're talking about this FHA or this condo 20% down. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. I think this is one Danielle Blake and I have talked about quite a bit. Peter, I'm going to have to get back with you on that one because I can't remember, Danielle, where we left that one. So I will get back with Danielle and Avion on that one and get something out to you all on that. Let me make a note.
Greatly appreciate that. And one more from Martha Pomares. She wants to know, can we take the 14-hour continuing via Zoom? Great question.
So big win from the FRAC, for the association, from your public policy team, in creating and passing an emergency rule that allows continuing education to be done through Zoom and WebEx and these virtual platforms. Right now, we have until October. The commission will be discussing a rule at its next meeting, next week, I think it is, to extend that until December 31st, with the goal being to long-term have this type of new process as it relates to the delivery of education. So yes, continuing education, if it was previously approved as classroom education, can be delivered through one of these new virtual platforms.
Thank you. Great. And from Phyllis Choi, good friend, can condo associations still limit guests into the building due to COVID?
You know, with condo associations, it sometimes is not a matter of what they can do, it's what they can get away with doing, right? You know, yeah, I said it. Because they take a very broad reading of the emergency powers section of the statute. And so here's what we recommend. We hear every single day about the abuses of associations as it relates to these restrictions on guests, on inspectors, on movers. You know, we are still hearing this every single day. And for those of you who don't know, we literally have a mailbox that we set up to collect actual stories. It's called the condoconcerns.org email box that we at condoconcerns@floridarealtors.org email address that we have to collect these stories, because what we have found is that when we are trying to have discussions with legislators and policymakers about these abuses and the actual harm that is being caused by the rules of the associations, a lot of times they want actual specifics, right? And so I would encourage any of you who run into these problems to email us at that address, and we'll provide that to you, because we need documented instances of the harm caused by these abuses. So if you can get us that information, that's very helpful. They do have emergency powers, right? So I can't say they don't. The rub becomes in how it is interpreted and applied. And so if you run into problems, often the owner is going to need to get involved, because ultimately it's the owner that they have the relationship with and the owner that they're usually going to listen to, okay? So at the point of listing, tell your owner, if they have an association, that when the time comes, and there's actual language in the listing agreement to support this, they are going to need to engage these folks. I know they don't want to, they don't live in Florida, they're out of the country, but they're gonna need to engage their association on the difficulties that they're causing with these powers.
Excellent, thank you. I had one that a member brought up yesterday, actually, and it was if properties in the MLS, offer of compensation, but the realtor is a member of one association in the state, saying, if you're not a member of the association that I belong to, meaning on the listing side, you will not be able to collect the commission. And there was a lot of gray discussion there and nobody really knew. So if you could clarify that, that would be great, because I promised to get back to them.
Yeah, so generally the offer of comp is to your fellow MLS participants, right? Unless you have a reciprocal agreement with another MLS. So when we get those calls, those are the questions we ask. Are you a member of that board, or or that MLS? Are you a participant of that MLS, or do you have a reciprocal agreement between the boards or the MLSs? So that's what it really hinges on. It's not typically an offer that has to be honored if you are a member in one end of the state to every single member of Florida Realtors. Okay, so it's not binding to every other member of Florida Realtors.
That explains it, because there was one group that thought if you're a member of Florida Realtors, another one said if you're a member of NAR, then you can get then you're guaranteed compensation. And so in reality, one should, if they're going to go into really find out if their home association has a reciprocal with that other association.
Right.
Great. That answers it. And I think, and Teresa just wrote, Joanna, what about FR's statewide reciprocal and all parties to it?
I'll check on that, Teresa. So I have two notes now. One is the 20% from Peter, and the other is the statewide reciprocal, Teresa. So two follow-ups coming.
We greatly appreciate that. I think we covered all the questions. All right, anybody else with great information and questions that came in? Yep, and Teresa wrote back, I believe most boards in Florida are a part of it. Excellent. Well, thank you again. Letty, I see that you went live.
Yes. Hi, Joanna.
Hey, Letty.
Hey. There's one question that came in that says, with regard to tenants and criminal background, are we allowed to state in MLS offers must include all occupants over 18 plus years old on application accompanied by credit, criminal background check, and police report?
I'm not sure what we mean by police report, but yes. So yes, that's a great example of the consistency of the process, right? So yes, everybody can be screened, whatever your screening process is. If it's well-defined, you're in good shape. And it sounds like that is a good example. I'm not sure what they mean by police report, because keep in mind, be careful with police report. One of the things you'll see on the slides is I say stay away from arrest, right? And stay away from, you have to know how to read these background checks, because you could be arrested for murder and it be reduced down to, battery, right? So you gotta know how to deal with that information. And so even with the Florida Real Estate Commission, we would always tell them, forget about what the police report said, because that's an allegation. That's not what the person pled to. That's not what the judge sentenced them for. So I'm leery of the police report, not because the statement about police officers, my brother's one. It is though the fact the police report is usually a summary of information that the police, they rarely are there for the actual occurrence, right? So police reports are usually third-hand information that the police gathered from witnesses and summarized. So I don't know that you should be worried about the police report more than you should worry about the actual sentencing documents of a court, where the court said, this is what you actually did, okay? But yes, you may put your screening process in the ad, but make sure it doesn't suggest a ban of any kind. Know this, know that, know the other. That's what you want to stay away from.
And Joanna, I did have one more that came in as well. There was on polybutylene piping. They had the class action lawsuit, I guess, 30 plus possibly years ago. And they settled, and I guess those people at that time got the benefit of it. Is there such a thing as a new class action lawsuit? Because we have so many people that are purchasing homes, and even often we see that inspectors, it's so well hidden that they can't even locate it. Would that be something that we could possibly look at again?
Absolutely. The good thing about, like when I show you these dockets, we have the ability to search extensively across the country for certain types of cases, keywords, things like that. So I can run a search on polybutylene. Yeah. So let me tell you this, anytime you need that kind of information, if you let us know, we can run a search for you.
Thank you.
All right.
Because that's resurfaced again. It never really went away, but it certainly has resurfaced. So Letty, with your permission, are we good?
No.
Oh, sorry, you're getting more and more. Keep going. I love this.
Also with the question on minimum down payment required by condo associations, can they legally set a minimum income requirement on the prospective buyer?
Yeah, what I'm trying to replay in my mind is the changes that happen with condos. I guess it was about not quite a year ago. And I just can't remember. So I made note of that one as well. As a matter of fact, there's a great summary video that I think I remember seeing that NAR did. I think it was an NAR video. Let me gather that information and I'll get that to you with these slides. So my to-do list is polybutylene pipes, MLS Advantage, 20% down, and minimum income requirement for condos.
That sounds like some great homework. And then Phyllis Choi just chimed in. Phyllis chimed in and she said, wouldn't income become discrimination versus lender qualification?
So the protected class, when you start to deal with income, deals with the source of income, not necessarily the amount of income. So I guess it would depend on if they say a minimum of this much income from this type of source, then that might be potentially problematic. But just, it's kind of like the rent where they say you must have, 5 times the amount of rent. And, so I don't think the amount itself is necessarily the problem. The actual protected class that we see is source of income. Social Security, Section 8, that type of source is where you start to see the discrimination occur.
Excellent, thank you. Letty, do you have any others in yours that I didn't see?
No, I haven't seen anything else.
All right, and Teresa, I see Teresa's live. Hi.
Yes, hi, I've been live the whole time, just not on screen. Juana, outstanding. You're just so amazing. We're going to make sure that we publish some of those links and, the FREC app, DBPR app, and all of those great information. Thank you so much. And posting the information about the videos and the article that you have on the support animals.
Thank you so much.
Just can't hardly handle the alligator though.
Or the cockroach.
Oh God, no. Okay, absolutely fantastic. Couldn't have possibly been better. And we look forward to having you actually live and in person next year. Are we good, guys?
Yes, we are. Letty, shall we do a quick coffee break and we'll let Joanna go get recaffeinated? I'm sure she's got a busy day up there. Again, thank you, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Joanna.
Okay, so we're going right on with the schedule, correct? So how many minutes do you want to give them, Letty?
It's 5 minutes each.
Yep. We start at 10:06 with Christina Pappas. Do you want to let them just do a quick coffee run, like real quick, 2 minutes, and we'll come right back?
Sounds great.
All right, we'll see you back in a couple of minutes, folks.
Thank you, guys.
Good morning, Christina. Hope you can hear us. We see you. I see you muted. There you are.
I unmuted her.
Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Excellent, excellent. Thanks for being here. All right, guys, we are ready to keep going. So for those of you that are new to the district conference, one of the great things that you get to participate in is to meet, greet, and listen to your leadership and those that would like to move up and into leadership on a state level. And without any delay, we're going to bring on board someone that I think we all know. And if you don't know her, she'll make sure you know her. You look for one of these, it says, I know Pappas.
Yay!
Yay. So without any, again, delay, Christina Pappas, welcome to District 4.
Thank you, Mark. It's an honor to be here with you, one of our fabulous leaders, not just in Miami, but in our own company. So thank you for taking this on. Thank you, Teresa, and to Letty for always putting on a fabulous district, and as well to everybody else. It's so wonderful to see all the leaders throughout, from Miami to Key West. I'm sad we're not in Key West celebrating today, but I think ultimately it's better that we're here. We get to at least see each other's faces. So I want to just reintroduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, Christina Pappas, I'm your vice president, will be your president-elect next year. And really some of the things that we're looking to get done in the next couple of years, so that you guys know, is really to make sure that we cover condos, HOA situations. Not only did we see them kind of some issues, maybe some issues throughout COVID, but really making sure that our affordable housing gets into the people who are looking to use it. That being said, our condos are some of the most affordable properties out there, and yet we're still having troubles getting, you know, having to put more than 10, 20% down in order to afford them. So I'm working closely with our public policy team, seeing what we can do at the state level to help some of our homeowners who can afford these homes get in there with minimal payments down. I know that's a big task. It's been my soapbox for many years. You guys know me. So I do want to let you guys know it's on top of my list, but I'm here for you. Anything you guys need, please feel free to reach out. There's plenty of other items coming forth. We have a really great convention coming up. I don't know how much time I have, but I'm excited to see everybody in the next couple weeks, and please don't hesitate to reach out. You guys have my cell, I'll Zoom, FaceTime, whatever it is. We know it's been a tough year. Thank you for being a Florida member. Thank you for continuing to push through. Thank you for all your support. I don't know, how much time do I have? Have more time?
You do.
Yeah,
you still have a couple of minutes. Absolutely.
All right. So what else do you want to talk about, Mark?
Hey,
How's the conference going?
Us. Come on. So what else? What do we want to know today that we didn't know yesterday?
You know, some of the main things that we've done this year that I'm not sure you guys are aware about is turning global inward. So Miami, Keys, rely heavily on global travel, right? And on global initiatives. And so in this past year, I don't know if you realized, we actually had a global trade mission via Zoom. We had over 800 members on, and it was a huge success. So some of the things we're looking to do next year is continue not just outbound missions, which we haven't been able to do this year, right? Everything was canceled, but looking for creative ways to still bring foreigners, to global travelers to our to Florida in general, and specifically obviously South Florida, but making sure that everybody is aware of all the options there are to, sorry, all the options to participate in Florida Realtors. I think the convention this year, if you don't have 5, 10, 15 people signed up from your office or peers of yours, go out and get them. It's free learning. We have a lot of really great things going on. I think there's karaoke tonight for District 4, right? Is there karaoke?
Already did it.
Last night, how was it?
but we can do it again. You know, we
should.
We want to do. We can do it all.
So we have, and Florida Realtors has a lot of fun stuff coming up the week of the 23rd through 28th. And so I encourage you to get involved. It's a great time. Look, the people on this call, we know what Florida Realtors means, but I think a lot of our members deserve to understand and learn all the things that go on at Florida Realtors. So encourage them to register, sign up. I'm excited to see how we integrate virtual learning with in-person learning in the future. And Florida Realtors is already looking at all the different ways that we can continue getting more people engaged into the stuff that we do. So I think it's gonna, I know doesn't feel like a great year, but it's been a great year for us. The leadership team has worked more closely together than ever. And we're really looking forward to finishing the year strong and really kicking off the next year. Cheryl's not here, but we have a huge homeownership for all push next year, affordable housing, you know, that's her initiative. And we have some really great projects and things coming forth. But a lot of this came from what she heard on the ground, and a lot of my initiatives and a lot of Mike and Gia's and a lot of our leadership team is all about what we've heard from you all. So we want to keep hearing from you. Anything that's coming up front, you guys are our boots on the ground team. Let us know what you need from us and how we can assist you in your business, because the goal is to continue to move the realtor forward, to continue to stay relevant, to continue to stay in the middle of the transaction. And I feel that COVID has made people realize they need realtors more than ever. I think that it's kind of helped them see that it's a complicated transaction, especially in a hectic time, and having a really professional consultant is more important than ever. At the same time, we need to keep that conversation going. And so I don't know if I'm out of my time.
But you're trying to say that what? We're relevant? Is that what you're saying, Christina?
Who would have thought?
Imagine.
But it is one of those things, though, honestly, we are really, I think it's been one of the most interesting experience to watch our realtors adapt as quickly as they have, and then to watch our consumers say, wait a minute, this is hard. I think we were going through this tech movement of, oh, I don't need realtors, I have tech, and I don't need this or that. And I think with this, we've kind of emerged as the saving grace. We've been able to remain essential and to show people what we need and to show people that they need us. But we need to continue that conversation. And I think we need to continue to show them that we have the technology, it's a tool, but it's still a people business. And dealing with people is always the most interesting and the most challenging aspect of our business, but that's really what makes us the most important.
Excellent. And also, Christina, in these still trying times, one of the things that I know that the leadership team and President Barry is asking of us that we typically do at the convention in a few weeks or starting next week would be to think about silent angels, forgive me.
Yes,
so maybe
really
you can
is.
bring that and explain that to the group.
So I think Barry may be coming on, but look, Silent Angels is one of the ways that we really help our members. As a member of Florida Realtors, anyone can apply for financial assistance. And we know right now there are some people battling with some health issues, people battling with some financial needs. And so we are able to support our fellow Realtors. However, in order to do that, we need donations. And Silent Angels was founded by our very own Mo Visi, who we all know and love. And that was something very dear to his heart. And I really would like us to see this charity thrive as it has given back to so many people. Anybody can request the funds, but we need the funds to be there. So we'll make sure Teresa and Letty and the team get out the link there to both apply for it and also to donate. If you have any extra money there, that's definitely a place that we encourage you to put it. Additionally, don't forget your RPAC contributions this year.
That was my next one. Thank you.
I'm taking Barry's line. So he said if, there was a button that we could have put that says, I want to be essential and, donate here, we would have been done with our donations. But really, when people say, why donate to the PAC, I think we just use one word and it says essential. There are states where you could not practice real estate. You could not close a deal. And I want you to think about that for a minute. Think about going 30, 60 days without even being able to close a deal, what that would do to brokerages, the economy, to our own realtors. And so don't know how much we realize how important that was at the state level for the governor to declare us essential and to allow us to continue to close deals and do business. So that's what your PAC dollars do. And if for nothing else, if I don't tell any other story, that's the story we need to tell. $25 is more, I mean, it is not even close to what we should be saying. I need to put into the PAC to almost thank them for making sure that we remained essential, and who knows what the world will bring. So make sure we keep putting those dollars forth.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So President Barry, I think, is having a little technical difficulty. He was on twice and we lost him. So hopefully he'll jump back on. Lady, do we have confirmation, or shall we let Christina go, or we keep her here?
Well, we never want to let Christina go.
I know.
But I do see that we have Barry.
Perfect. Well, you're in good hands. Barry's been an incredible leader, and we are really happy. I mean, to have him at the helm, you guys have no idea how much work he's done, so thank him. It's been a very different presidential year, as it has district vice president year for Mark and all your presidents. I know it's been a very different year, but Barry has been able to steer us in the right direction. So I don't know if he's going to be able to jump on. He's having technical, he's in the middle of a small place with no internet.
Oh.
Another conversation we might be having with the state soon. How do we make sure in all of this we have internet, right? There he is.
There he is.
Yeah, all right. Awesome. Well, Christina,
hello. Thank you guys for having me. Congrats on a great year, and greatly always appreciate our partnership with Miami, but obviously we're just saying.
And all the entire district. Don't forget our three of the Keys.
You know, I have dearly missed the Keys and Key West this year. We go down usually like every couple weeks. It has been so sad not to be able to visit all of you guys and see you guys. So honestly, like it's just been so tough. But thank you, Southeast Florida. You guys keep going strong.
Thank you. Stay safe and just keep doing what you do for all of us. We greatly appreciate you. All right.
Am I muted?
I think we have President Barry on.
Hello.
Hello, President. So welcome to District 4. We're so glad you could join us today. I know that you're floating somewhere and probably doing what you always say, getting us there stronger, faster, smarter. And I think with the pandemic and everything else going on, I think above all, we've all become that. So we thank you for your vision and your guidance and strength during all this insanity. And we're just so happy that you could be here with us. And what would you like to share with District 4?
Well, Mark, is this a little sound check? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir. We hear you loud and clear.
Outstanding. Yes, thank you so much, Mark. And it's kind of like a homecoming. You know, my wife and I spend a lot of time on that southeast section of Florida. You have a particular hotel down there that we all like called the Hard Rock, but we haven't been able to get down there. And of course, Miami has always been such a homecoming, and I felt so welcome there. And of course, our friends in the Keys, you know, from Largo down to Key West, we have all had a heck of a year. Mark, you have done an amazing job. Your reports have been spot on. You've been very inclusive. You've been reporting for the entire district. And you've been giving special attention to those who have unique needs. And of course, you ran that up the flagpole, and we've been able to accomplish some great things this year under your leadership. So my hat's off to you.
Thank you.
You know, I heard Christina, so I was on the line when Christina was, I could hear her, I could hear you guys, but you couldn't hear me. Wow, you know, what a leader you guys have coming up from your area. And, you know, I'm sure it's not the last. The District 4 continues to produce leaders that have been unparalleled and unmatched in any other state, you know, because I've always said you're kind of a country or a state unto yourselves when it comes to your needs and how you operate. You have a very unique business model from the standpoint of its just sheer size. So at Florida Realtors, I think I can speak for the entire, I know I can speak for the entire leadership team, including CEO Margy Grant, when I can say the time that we spent down there in the boardroom listening to your leaders last year, and we made the comment that there's a great wave going on right now, and we're riding that wave. And I can tell you, COVID did not interrupt the ride. The relationships that have been built, I say due to COVID, utilization of technology and how it's business differently, has literally changed the world of real estate and association operation forever. I can tell you that, yes, we are better, faster, stronger for it, but I will also tell you that I would add one more. We're closer. Believe it or not, I believe that we are closer. Being able to meet with the leadership team on a sometimes 4 times a week, but to meet with the leaders around the state on a weekly basis and then a bi-weekly basis to stay in touch and in tune with what was going on. If we had not all been forced as a state, as a country, as a nation, to operate this way, I don't know that we would have ever been able to achieve what we have. And yes, I am zoomed out, but I think there's going to come a time where, and I think the time is now, where all of our operations and how we function as an association and as an industry has changed forever. So when somebody says COVID's going to be a part of our world forever, that doesn't necessarily mean that the sickness and the spread, granted, it could be, but literally the lasting effects of COVID could be the positive changes that it's created. I mean, when was the last time you saw people sitting out in front of their house talking to their neighbors from their porch to the streets? That hasn't happened since 9/11. And the thing about COVID, it didn't happen to 1 or 2 of us. It didn't happen to the state of, the state of New York was not the only one affected like in 9/11. The world's been affected. We've all lost the same thing. So we have all kind of reset ourselves as a society and as a humanity. I believe that, barring political stuff, we are kinder to each other. We communicate more. We reach out more. We listen a lot better than we used to. We laugh together a lot more than we were doing before the pandemic. So, if that's what my year was as president, then man, I am the richest man in the world. My year has been different, but it has not been bad. The things that I've learned and how I've grown as a leader and how I have grown to truly appreciate the local association now, and I always have, right? I've sat in front of your boardroom, talking to your leaders, letting you know that the promises that I made to you are promises that I kept. And that's because of support that you gave me over the years. I see that being richer now than it ever has been. So, with that, Mark, I'm obviously happy to take questions. You probably have some for me. And I hope it's about something that we got coming up here in the near future. So I'll flip it back to you.
Thank you so much, President Barry. Again, thank you for your leadership, your friendship, your guidance to all of us this year in such a complex time. And you really navigated us through it, kind of being on the front line. And we just can't thank you and the entire leadership team enough. And looking forward to the conference, looking forward to more times again in the future that we can be together. And if you come down to the Hard Rock, we'd love to have you here in our little backyard. So anytime, please, and just stay safe, and all the best to you and your family. And if Letty, I don't believe we have any questions from President Barry, just a lot of great thank yous.
No, we don't have any questions for him.
All right.
I do have one thing before I hop off.
Please.
The one thing that hasn't been understated, because when you're dealing in an emergency situation, you don't always take the time to recognize people. So thank you for recognizing me and the leadership team. I appreciate that. But I can tell you right now, Teresa Kinkini, this year, you want to talk about somebody who leads from the back and who has remained not necessarily quiet, but has been so strong, is the leadership that she's provided to your entire association and your staff. We hear about it all the time. Kudos to you guys and your staff. We love you guys. And thanks, Mark, for having me. And yeah, I can't wait to shake some hands and hug some people soon.
Very soon. Thank you. And yes.
Thank you.
And thank you to Teresa and all the CEOs and all the leaders, and Barry, having all the presidents and everybody on board, constantly in touch, and sharing some pain, but sharing great stories as well, and seeing us go forward. So Teresa, any last words before we let President Barry go?
Of course. So first of all, I want to thank Barry on behalf of myself and our leaders and all of the association execs here in District 4. We work together great as a team and support each other, as our leaders are all involved in that as well. Would you make another personal pitch for registering for our first ever virtual state convention?
Absolutely, and thanks for the opportunity. So, you know, first things first, this is the first of its kind. We've never done anything like this, but here's what I'm going to promise you. I know that the National Association of Realtors put on a great show, and they had an overwhelming participation, and they were able to effectively pull off the business at hand and the education that we need so much. Let me tell you something. Just like in District 4, from whether you're from stem to stern, all the way as far north as you go to the stem, we are literally going to blow this thing out of the water. It's going to be a virtual conference, one that's never been done before. And it's going to be extremely, when I say extremely produced, this is going to come off as something that I think will set the standard and the bar very high, as District 4 always has. The second part of that is the speakers that we have. Man, Allison is going to lift you up. She's going to inspire you. She's going to teach you to lead your life with different types of expectation for yourself. And then Weldon Long, man, he's going to kick it into overdrive for business. We're going to be able to have the board of directors meeting and the executive meeting. The technology that we're using is second to none. It's not going to be some glitchy program that we've seen. I'm not saying that NAR was a glitchy program, but it had its issues. We are focusing on the infrastructure. Here's the best part. It's free. It's free. We already have over 4,000 people registered. My goal is 3.5% of the state of our membership, which is 7,000 members. That's my goal, guys. So, you know, there's one thing if you want to do for me this year, because I always get that a lot, help me hit that goal of 7,000. Tell everybody, you know, get together as a group if you can safely and watch it together. If not, maybe do some fun things and let me know what you're doing to make it fun. Put those posts on Facebook so we can see it, so we can celebrate together, okay? So make sure you go to Florida. Yep.
Just a question for you. I know this is for Florida. It's free for all Florida members, but do you welcome international attendees?
So there's going to be an opportunity in the global parts that we have talked about, and I don't know the specific details on registration. What I will do as soon as I get off this call, I'll call the logistic experts and we'll find out. And if we can, I'll fire that back down to you and Deanna and everybody else that's down there. I don't know if Deanna's on the line. I didn't mean to cut her out. I didn't know if she was on the line or not. But
she's a different district.
Right, but I didn't know if she was a guest on the line today. Because sometimes you guys are sharing, and I love that relationship that you guys share. But yes, the question came out of her district too. So if that demand or need is there, let me see what I can do. And I promise you, if I can get it done, I will get it done. And I'll let you know, let's say by the end of tomorrow.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Barry.
Be well and stay well.
You too. All right. And we're going to keep on going. So, Letty, I believe that President-elect Cheryl Lambert is not able to join us this morning. Can we confirm that?
While we're confirming that, let's go ahead and move on, because I know Christina said she wouldn't be here, that Cheryl wouldn't be with us today.
Yes,
so
very good.
Confirm that. Thanks.
All right, so as we move on with the program, I'd like to introduce your District 4 candidate for 2021 Vice President, current Chairman of the Board for the Miami Association, Mr. George Guerra Jr. Mr. Guerra, it's all yours.
Mark, thank you very much for the intro, and definitely seeing you perform the last couple of days reminds me the big shoes that I have to fill. Like I echoed yesterday, the calm and the sense of direction and leadership that you bring into our district is very powerful, and one that I'm learning minute by minute watching you. It's a great honor to be candidate for District 4. It's an even greater honor to not have anybody run against me. It allows me to really focus on how to do a better job next year if we get to see each other in person. Leading from behind the camera, Mark, as you know and I know, has been quite challenging, but you know, like us realtors, we're very innovative, we're very resourceful, and we make it happen. And you've been a great example of that no excuse, getting it done type of leader. And I look forward to next year when we all get to see each other, go to the back room, get some popcorn, get some chocolate, get some wine, and see each other in person. Until then, I'll see you guys soon.
Excellent, and congratulations to you, George, and your year as chairman, and the willingness to move forward into the DVP role. And we definitely are here to support you in any way we can, and I couldn't be prouder. You know, you've moved through the ranks and moving way up. And again, we're just proud to call you our leader and our friend, and know that it's going to be an amazing continuation of your journey. All right, and staying right now, we're running really good on time, and we're going to introduce our first candidate for Secretary of Florida Realtors, the immediate past District Vice President for District 4, and our good friend, Stacy Stahl. So Stacy, please jump on in.
Good morning. I hope everybody is enjoying this sunny South Florida weather that we're having right now. First off, I just want to say thank you. I mean, this is my home. I love you all, and you have all been part of my journey, which is leading right now today to me to say I would love to be your Florida Realtor Secretary for 2021. So I've been doing, a little bit of talking around the state, and I just wanted to share a story that's come up recently, and I think it's a real fun one. I've been involved for the last 5 years with a local 501c3 here in Key West, and I had worked my way up to the position of a lieutenant, which is like similar to a DVP in our world. And a few months ago, there was a big disagreement between a few of the lieutenants and the president, and it was a really personal situation, but the lieutenants quit the organization. And the president came to me and he was like, "Are you gonna leave too?" And I was, "No." I explained that, well, I did not agree with what had happened. I wasn't gonna punish our members and leave them high and dry. So instead, I offered that I would stay on the board and help reimagine our organization. A few weeks later, that president announced he was moving up by Gia to Alachua. So the board unanimously elected me as president. And my friend said, I was crazy and caring, but I said it was strength of character and believing in the mission of the organization. And so that's really why I'm here today. I believe in the mission of Florida Realtors, and I have the vision and the ability to step up and be our next leader and our next secretary. As we all know, our leadership team is fantastic, and they're truly, forward thinking, can quickly adapt and act when they're needed to, preserve our members' best interests. So I'm really proud of and thankful for our team. Many of you know me and my qualifications, so I'm not going to bog us down with, a list of 1,000,001 things, but you know that I have, been the president of the Key West Association of Realtors, and I was the 2018 Realtor of the Year. I'm a CRS designation, WCR member, and I'm C2EX endorsed. Currently, many of you may not know, I'm serving as an NAR director, and I'm also a member of the NAR Leadership Academy. So those are, really big right now in my world, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity. I'm also a vice chair of the board leadership forums this year for Florida Realtors, and Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock, we're doing a presentation that circles on inclusiveness and, as a leader, answering those difficult questions that may arise. So make sure that you watch the webinar. If you're not on the committee, it is going to be live streaming. Last year, I was honored to be your DVP, and I was named the DVP liaison to the leadership team, kind of like that, extra chair on the leadership team, because I really got to see what was going on and how I too could affect change and help our association. As you know, too, of course, I'm a longtime resident of Key West, and my husband Carl and I are super active in our community. My daughter Amanda is a realtor. Many of you have met her, and she's also a partner in my office. She's a proud parent of my grandson Eddie, and then my stepdaughter Amanda lives in Texas, and she did surprise us last week with an early delivery of our granddaughter London Jean. So it's a super exciting time in my life, and I'm just really fortunate and thankful to have all of you around and supportive. I know Christina talked a lot about some of Florida Realtors' big initiatives next year, and I'm really happy to say that some of these things I've been talking about as well, and they've been some of my key talking points, because I really do have a great vision to enhance our organization, including expanding our member-centric approach on, you know, hyper-local leadership where it's needed, so that your voice in your local association, if there's a current issue that's so important to you, Florida Realtors will also make it important to them and learn and lead from that perspective, because sometimes one size just doesn't fit all. I'm also super proud of our advocacy. It's been really strong, but we do need to continue to have that voice in the environmental issues across the state. So if it's water quality or sea level rise or pollution issues, we need to continue to be the advocate for the homeowners to keep Florida highly desirable as a place to live and work. So affordable housing, you guys are leading the charge with your container setup over there. I love it. And it's super intricately tied into our advocacy efforts. As an organization, we do need to keep the pressure on our elected officials to continue with fully funding the housing trust funds. And we need to support local organizations who can actually get affordable housing built. And with our new piece of legislation that allows those zoning laws to, you know, be relaxed, it's directly attributed to Florida Realtors advocacy efforts. And I know it'll help affordable housing statewide, and I'm sure hoping in the Keys and South Florida. I also firmly believe we have to continue to build our public perception as professionals. I was on the professionalism PAG last year, and I had the opportunity to explore ideas to offer those members additional learning opportunities and enhance new members' experiences. So by attracting new, younger members and enabling them with tools for success, it's a win-win for Florida Realtors. As Christina mentioned, global leadership knows no bounds. We are continuing to see growth by strategic partnerships, and that will continue to bring diverse business to our realtors. Globally showcasing our affiliate members, builders, and community organizations as local partners can also provide a well-rounded vision of the economic opportunities available in Florida real estate. So if it's residential or commercial, we can offer our partner countries what they're looking for in their investments. I do know we have got a super strong realtor spirit down here in South Florida, and how we're so able to adapt and do what needs to be done for our families and our communities. We're learning from each other and proudly wearing our realtor R. And we have become the disruptors in our industry, as evidenced by our ability to merge technology with our traditional hands-on approach. And that's so critical to the transaction. I believe Florida Realtors can explore this more and help promote our profession because we've decided to pivot. In conclusion, I just can't thank you all enough. My slogan has been championing our realtor family. I've got pictures on my websites, and I was looking at some of them today, and it's all of you. And I have to say thank you so much, because you've given me so much through your friendship, your mentoring, and fun. And I can't wait to give back to you and be your champion and your Florida Realtor Secretary for 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you for your
pleasure.
commitment and leadership and your vision. Thanks for sharing your time with us. All right, guys. And next up, also candidate for Secretary for Florida Realtors, coming from the central part of the state, Tim Weisshire. Good morning, Tim. Welcome to District 4, comprised of our 4 associations, 3 in the Keys and the Miami Association, spanning from Key West all the way up to Jupiter to Cuesta Hope Sound. So welcome, and it's all yours.
Thank you, I appreciate it, and it's great to be with you guys. You know, when I think about the Miami Association in particular, I only have membership in 2 associations in the state of Florida. It's my home association, the Miami Association. So I'm proud to be part of the Miami Realtor family. Speaking of family, let me share a little bit of my background. I'm proud to be married to my beautiful wife, Pam. We have 2 gorgeous daughters named Courtney and Christina. And what surprises some people sometimes is when I tell them I also have 4 grandkids, 3 boys and 1 little girl, and we're super proud of that. In the realtor side of the universe, I would share with you, I've been a realtor now for more than 20 years, and I've always worked to truly represent our industry in the way I think it's supposed to be represented. And we talk about professionalism and how important that is. And I would submit to you that that is exactly what I've worked to model in my nearly 25 years in being in our profession. But shifting, if you will, over to Florida Realtors specifically, I think it's really important that when we're thinking about who we're going to elect to be the next Secretary of Florida Realtors, we also recognize that more than likely we're electing who may be the future president of Florida Realtors. And I'll offer to you that that is my goal. I've decided not to run for re-election for the school board. I've finished my presidency as the president of the Florida School Boards Association, where my leadership had direct impact on 3 million students in the state of Florida. And I did that intentionally because I truly believe that our organization is going to need to pivot as we move forward and we think about what the economy is going to look like, what advocacy is going to look like, and the costs around that, as well as increasing professionalism and shoring up what's going to happen as we respond to COVID-19 and dealing with our membership numbers and how that may decline in the coming years. I'm proud to say I've served on Florida Realtors Finance Committee for 4 years. I did 3 years previously, appointed by a prior president, and I've been reappointed to serve on it again. And so I really understand the inner workings of our $27 million budget. And beyond that, I have experience in overseeing a $1.4 billion budget. So being able to step in and be a part of our leadership team today is absolutely something that I'm capable of doing. I want to focus on what I think is maybe of somewhat of the most importance to my friends in South Florida, which is we think about FHA reforms, we think about condominiums, we think about access to better financing in the condominium market, and we think about what needs to happen to kind of rein in some of the power and some of the control that exists as we think about associations and the challenges that they're creating for all of us in the real estate market. We know that NAR has been working to try to overcome the challenges in the condominium market, but what I would submit is that in order for us to continue to be effective in that, it means that we must elect people that are strong in the area of advocacy. You guys know we say that if you're in real estate, you're in politics, whether you like it or not, you are. And all of you know that I've spent my entire career at Florida Realtors really investing in the advocacy side. I'm proud to be a Golden R President's Circle Hall of Fame member, which I believe is a great example of my level of commitment to what we do and the PAC that works so hard for us. And I'm proud to have been appointed to the Florida Realtor PAC trustees by 3 different presidents. I'm currently serving as chair of our PAC trustees and was asked to step in this very important time with a very key election cycle that's happening now to lead our efforts and initiatives to ensure that the PAC remains strong. Beyond that, though, I want to kind of bring it down to a more granular level. When we think about how is it that we're going to be as one of the largest state associations within the National Association of Realtors and soon to be the largest state association because our membership growth is outpacing California's and theirs is declining. So I think it's going to be incredibly important that we elect people that are able to really articulate our message and our need for strong policy at both the state and the national level. For more than a decade, I've been a key contact for Florida Realtors to the Florida House of Representatives, and I've also served as and currently do serve as an FPC or Federal Political Coordinator on behalf of the National Association of Realtors. And what I think is really interesting about that, in my work in the Florida House, I work with a Republican. My work in the United States Congress, I work with a Democrat. And so what I think it shows you is that I have the ability to build relationships on both sides of the aisle, and I certainly have the understanding, knowledge, and ability to articulate the importance of our messages. We talk about having 200,000 members in the state, and we applaud that. We're glad that we're as big as we are in many ways. And of course, Miami is the largest association and one that we're proud to have in our state and brag on all across the country about the size, the scale, and the products and services that the association provides. It's why I became a member of the Miami Realtors a couple of years ago, is because I knew that being a part of an institution and organization such as Miami would be important. But as we think about 200,000 members, what I really want you to think about is the way that I approach this is serving 200,000 small businesses. Every one of your members, my members, our members are really small businesses. We're talking about a $200 billion plus industry in the state of Florida. And we're talking about more than 20% of the gross state product in our state. So when you think about the voice of real estate, the largest trade organization in the state of Florida, soon to be the largest within our federation at the national level, I think it's incredibly important that we elect leaders that have the business experience, the leadership experience, and have proven to be able to lead through challenging times. I know Miami knows just as much as I do in Central Florida the devastation that occurred when we went through the Great Recession. You guys were at ground zero just as I was in Osceola County where I live. I was asked to lead my local association during that time. I didn't ask to be president. They called me and they said, we've seen your leadership in all these other areas. Our association's struggling, and we need to ask you to come to the table to help us shore up our organization and make sure we're successful going forward. I accepted that call. I helped our association. I've built it into a strong association today with a partnership with the rest of our leadership team and volunteer leaders. The exact same thing I believe is going to be true as we think about what's going to happen post-COVID-19 with our economy. When we think about that, and I'll wrap up on this because I know we're short on time, I have experience in both commercial and residential real estate. I own a commercial brokerage. It's actually the one that I'm sitting in today, and I also own a residential brokerage. I cut my teeth in residential real estate and still manage teams within my residential brokerage, but I have vast understanding of what it takes to truly build a robust economy and to think about how it is that we're dealing with growth and development. The National Association of Realtors didn't just ask me to sit on the sustainability committee where we're dealing with resiliency and sea level rise and flood insurance and all these other components of building sustainable communities, but they actually asked me to chair the state and local work group to come up with initiatives and ideas that would ensure that when we're talking about resiliency going forward, we have comprehensive understanding, comprehensive plans in place to deal with it. What I would submit to the Miami Realtors is I would ask for your support and your vote. I have chosen to dedicate all of my time going forward to doing nothing more than serving Florida Realtors, meaning I walked away from my elected position on the school board because I think the Realtors deserve leadership at this time that's capable of truly making a difference. I'm no longer president of Florida School Boards Association. That ended at the end of June. I'm finishing up my term as chairman of the board for the YMCA. And I share these with you because I want you to hear the level of commitment that I bring to you, to your business, to your livelihood, and to your family. You have my commitment that not only for secretary, but for the next number of years, I will do nothing more than to serve as a servant leader for you and all of our members in the state of Florida. Of course, I have a campaign going. You can follow me at Tim for Florida. That's timforfl.com. There's social media channels set up as well. And more than anything, my phone number is always available and it's always there for you to reach out to me. I would love to have your support, and I would love to continue to partner with the largest association in America to make a profound difference here in the state of Florida. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you for all your service in all the different areas, and thanks for addressing our organization today. And hopefully we can see you as well in person real soon, and just keep doing what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, guys. And now, next up, our candidate for Florida Realtors Treasurer that wants to hold the checkbook, the one and only Gia Arvin. Good morning, Gia, and welcome to District 4.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here at District 4, although I'm not going to lie, I wish we were in Key West or Fort Lauderdale or Miami enjoying the beaches, but it's great to see you guys via Zoom. So my name's Gia Arvin. I am serving as your current secretary, and I am running for your 2021 treasurer. I'm from Gainesville. If you don't know me already, go Gators. And we have a small brokerage in Gainesville, and my husband is my business partner. Yes, we live and work together, and it works. I know. We have a 5-year-old daughter named Avery that's about to start kindergarten, and we've been in the real estate industry for about 17 years. Actively working with buyers, sellers, property management, commercial, all of it. I'm sure you feel like your world's just been picked up and kind of shaken and thrown back down lately. I know that we have both in our personal lives and in our business world. And I think now more than ever, it's going to be super important to have an experienced leader. Because as we look at the budget, we don't know how COVID has affected our membership or will affect it. Maybe we're going to have more members. Maybe we're going to have less. We don't know exactly yet the effects of that. And so as we're planning our budget, it's super important to have someone experienced that can help us navigate these times. I've been very proud to be a part of your current leadership team. They have been on point, very proactive versus reactive in trying to provide tools, services, and pivot as quickly as possible. And I've been very impressed and proud to be a part of that current leadership team. You're going to hear professionalism and advocacy. Those are definitely the top 2 most important things to me. Mike McGraw had an amazing idea about the idea of a board certified realtor. And we had a professionalism PAG that met, and you're going to hear some very exciting things coming out of that PAG in the near future. So professionalism definitely is something that we need to keep moving forward in our industry to protect us and keep our livelihood and our wonderful Realtor brands moving forward. Our public policy team has been amazing, both post, during session and then post session with the whole COVID pandemic. I know that President Grooms always talks about everyone would donate to RPAC if there was a button saying, do you want to remain essential? Donate here. Our wonderful team has been able to do that for us. So as far as advocacy goes, we need to continue to build on those relationships and keep the Realtor Association moving forward, both at the state and the national level. I'm here to serve you. I am an open book. You can call me, text me, reach out to me anytime. I want to serve you. I have chosen to do this because I care about our membership, I care about our future and our businesses. So thank you so much. I've enjoyed coming down to District 4, to the Miami events, the Rock the Market. You all always know how to put a great event on that partners both fun and education. So I value your partnership and your friendship, and I look forward to continuing to serve you next year as your treasurer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gia, and thank you for your serving this year. And again, same thing in a very complex time, and the willingness to keep it going, and for all your insight and sharing. And we certainly wish you the best of luck, and to you and your family, your kids, that everybody's healthy and safe, and that we'll be seeing a lot of you in the next few days as we move into next week. So there'll be a lot of working together and serving together. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for all you do.
Good luck. Thank you. All right. And we are right on time with 1 minute to spare. And now we're going to hear from your current treasurer and candidate for Vice President of Florida Realtors, Mr. Mike McGraw. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, Mark. How you doing?
4.
Good morning. How you doing?
Excellent. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Can't complain.
Good.
Can't complain. Well, good morning, District 4, including Jupiter, Hobe Sound, and Tequesta. Can't leave them out. I'm from Orlando. I am your current treasurer, and I'm a candidate for 2021 Vice President. I'd like to say thank you for your support in the past. I look forward to continuing having conversations and moving forward with professionalism, continue to move forward with advocacy. I'd like to see us continue to move forward with our water cleanup efforts. I think that was a very good and successful event this year. And continue to look for more products and services that we can provide to the members through Florida Realtors. My phone is always available, and I look forward to some in-person meetings in the near future. I'll be honest, I'm getting kind of tired of Zoom. I need to at least fist bump some people and look them in the eye, and from 6 feet apart, say hi to them. But District 4, thank you for your continued support.
Thank you, Mike. And as well, we are all going through this together, and I think that's the beauty of it, that we're emerging, and that we yearn to be together. We want to have those times again, but we're making it work, and you certainly see it around the state, more so than maybe I do. But we're here, and we're committed, and we're Realtor strong. So thank you, and again to you and your family. Hope the twins are doing great, and keep posting, because we love seeing it. Keep sharing with us, because we love seeing what's going through. We're living through you vicariously.
Thank you.
And the car. All right, here we go. So we're running a little early, which is good. And I see that she's here, and she's always ready. So we're going to move right into your CEO of Florida Realtors, our CEO, our leader, and she's still smiling, which is a great thing. She's smiling, 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 and she never disappoints and never lacks sharing of information. So if you're ready, Margy, are we good to go?
We are great. How are you, Mr. District Vice President?
I am wonderful. Thank you. I get, you know, your hair color is a little lighter and mine's a little grayer. It's okay. Thank you for being here.
That's the cool part, right? Is people don't question when a girl's hair turns a different color. But I will tell you, your greeting is the nicest one I have had all week. Yesterday, as I signed on to a meeting, someone said, Margy looked stressed. And I remember thinking, oh no, what does that even mean? But so I appreciate the warm greeting, truly. I always love being with the leaders of Miami. You all have been a second home to me since I arrived in Florida a little more than 10 years ago. And you know, as Mike said, I miss seeing you all in person, but I have really enjoyed the time I've at least gotten to spend chatting with you and hearing about the challenges you're facing, but also the opportunities that you're finding. Florida Realtors has had what I can only call the most fascinating 3 months of my entire career. And I know that the Miami staff feels the same way. In early March, we all looked at each other and we started to hear phrases like stay-at-home order, and we were watching what was going on in the Pacific Northwest and saying to ourselves, is this coming here? And I'll share with you a personal story that 2 weeks before even the local stay-at-home orders began, I pulled my senior team together, and I'll be very candid, I had a panic attack because we have 2 call centers, and those call centers talk to thousands of members every week. And it was absolutely essential that those services would not be interrupted in the event that we faced something like a stay-at-home order. And so as I looked at the senior team and explained that I was immediately sending the call centers home to work from home, and we needed to figure out the technology immediately, several of them looked at me like I was crazy. And I remember saying to myself, well, this is either the best professional decision I've ever made, or I might need a new job. And following that meeting, the only person that stayed behind was Dr. Brad O'Connor. And he looked at me and he said, don't just send home the call centers. He said, send everybody home now. He said, this virus is going to be here and it's going to be here soon. And what's so fascinating to me is that today, we have only been 157 days since the first COVID-19 test was positive here in Florida. Can you imagine that? It's only been 157 days. What's amazing to me is what your industry did. You pivoted in place overnight. When you all understood that you were essential and you were declared that you got to continue operating amidst the pandemic when everybody else had to shut down, you immediately took steps to adjust your business and to make sure that you were protecting not just yourself and your family, but your customers and clients. Because you realized that real estate was so essential because we were talking about shelter. We were talking about a situation where we had people who needed to find residences when hotels were not open. We needed to make sure that tenants could move in safely and that people were not compromised. And I will tell you, the local staff at the Miami Association of Realtors, led by Teresa, need to be commended because your region, more than any other one, we literally spent about 3 weeks playing what I lovingly call whack-a-mole, because every single municipality had their own approach to this, and all of the brokers in those areas needed advice and guidance. And your staff jumped in front of that and made sure that they were doing everything they could to keep you essential and keep you operating. And then when the state stay-at-home order came out, you all again partnered with us. You made adjustments to your open houses. And as we partnered with the Department of Health and Human Services, specifically Dr. Scott Rifkes, the Surgeon General, we were able to do what we've always done. And that is be the source of the information. Because at the end of the day, Florida Realtors has one responsibility, and it's to make sure that we continue to provide the products, tools, and services to help all of you make a living. Now, partnering in that with the Miami Association, I will tell you, I am so incredibly proud to partner with them because they truly are not just my colleagues, but my friends. And in a time where you can pick up the phone and say, can I run something by you? It has never been more critical right now. So I will share with you that, you know, as things, we've sort of adopted this motto at the state called, we now do business as possible rather than business as usual. We don't call it the new normal, we call it business as possible. In doing that, a lot of things have simply continued. The legal hotline and the tech helpline have seen an increase in the volume of calls. I think I attribute that to the fact that in a time when we're all socially distanced, people need that human connection. And so when they know that they have an opportunity to call and speak to a human being who's going to answer a live line, That's a big deal right now. People need that human connection. Form Simplicity has seen record numbers in terms of usage. I know you've heard from some economists this week. As you know, the one thing that has been great for our industry is that the market has exploded. Dr. O'Connor and I speak daily, and the amount of pent-up demand is really benefiting us. Obviously March and April and most of May, they were a little ugly, but it has come back solid in June, and we expect another solid report for the July numbers. So from that standpoint, we've been incredibly fortunate, because the one thing I know about realtors is that when you see a challenge, you find an opportunity. So your finance committee met a few weeks ago, and Treasurer Mike led them through a very successful operation. They have now approved almost a $27 million budget without a dues increase. There will not be any interruption in products, tools, and services. And incoming President Lambert for 2021 has some really exciting ideas, and she wants to really focus not just on professionalism, but also really, narrowing our focus to make sure that we are promoting and protecting attainable workforce housing. Because as mortgage rates stay low, we are going to have a huge opportunity for a whole new slew of home buyers. So let's make sure that we have attainable, affordable workforce housing that we can get those folks into. So we are, honestly, we're firing on all cylinders at the state level. I know the Miami Association has had a similar experience in terms of the amount of education opportunities that the members have taken advantage of, and the numbers are very impressive. So I want to again congratulate Miami on the fact that during a time when people looked around and said, how on earth are we going to do this? You accepted that challenge, you created an opportunity, and they have also been incredible in terms of advocating with us with the Florida Real Estate Commission and DBPR. The last couple of weeks have had some great announcements. DBPR is still pursuing a permanent solution to online learning, where we will have a simplistic way to offer CE online. But more importantly, in terms of the future of our organization, we had a huge pent up demand in terms of people who wanted to take the real estate exam. And, Miami partnered with us. We all talked to FREC and said, we have a problem here. And interestingly enough, your Florida Real Estate Commission, at our behest, summoned the vendor, Pearson VUE. And they had a meeting with them where Pearson VUE kind of shrugged and said, well, what do you want us to do about it? As we have to, we're essential, but, we have to socially distance and we have to protect the staff. And the Real Estate Commission, led by Patty Ketchum out of Tallahassee, said, that's not acceptable. That's just simply not acceptable. You can't prevent people from making a living because you don't want to find a solution. And I got to give the vendor credit, because realizing that this was a problem, they immediately went and they created an online solution. And so effective this week, people can actually call, and they're now making appointments to take the exam online. So in a time when, we all really were not entirely sure what the future held, we are seeing us accept these challenges and creating opportunities. So I will pause there, and I'm happy to take any questions, Mr. District Vice President, if anyone has any.
Thank you so much. So guys, let's open it up, because I know that there's always a lot of questions, and we love hearing Margy's answers. And Letty, if you can assist as well, in case you see some that I don't, we would love to do that.
I don't see any questions at the current moment.
Well, while people might be thinking about a question, I do want to share, one of the things that I don't think we pay enough attention to is Miami's success with RPAC. In an association your size, an argument could be made that the goals that are sometimes set for you are a little crazy in terms of the amount of money that you are expected to raise, and yet you have literally just taken it and run. As of June 30th, the Miami Association has brought in more than $900,000 in RPAC funds. And I just want to say thank you, because as you know, our advocacy efforts are more important right now than ever. And this kind of success is what's helping us succeed, not just in Tallahassee, but in Washington, D.C. So I just want to make sure everybody understands how hard you're working and how much we appreciate it.
Thanks for that, Margy. And I do want to point out, I asked for some updated figures. I don't have them yet today. But our RPAC collections are running so far ahead of a year ago, and that's during a pandemic. And so everybody was very concerned as to what was going to happen, and most of the associations in the state have not billed yet. So maybe that will give everyone an indicator of what's coming, is that hopefully the members are seeing that that's one of the reasons why they're still essential and why they're still doing business, and all of the things that have happened with our partnership with you and working with FREC and with the elected leaders for the state of Florida to keep all of these new avenues open for everyone. And you guys, day, night, weekend, no matter when it is, text or email, you've always been there, your entire staff. And you and Juana are like on a direct dial, direct text, you know, for all of our team. So thanks again very much.
Well, and I know our friends from the 3 Florida Keys board, I believe, are on as well. And I want to share with you that they have done an amazing job in terms of also reinforcing the CDC guidelines and making sure that we're all taking these protections. The numbers are improving, and I do encourage all of you to pay attention to those. They are published weekly. Actually, they're published daily. And we do at the State Association track the new number of cases every single day, as well as the death toll, because it's extremely telling in terms of where we're going. The southern part of the state where you all are is still literally in a lockdown. You still have so many things that have not reopened. And I know as all of you struggle through that, I want to assure you that you're making the right decisions. I know that the efforts that you have all put forward have been fantastic. And you know, again, on behalf of Florida Realtors, we just want to say thank you. But we also want to make sure that everybody understands that 50% of Florida's COVID-19 cases have occurred in the last 4 weeks. And 50% of those cases came from 4 counties in Florida. So it is so absolutely essential that brokers everywhere and the associations leading make sure that we continue to reinforce the safety requirements and continue to reinforce that, because something is about to happen that we're all not incredibly prepared for. I don't think any of us could be, and that is schools are going to reopen and schools are going to start. And as the mother of 3 teenagers, I have never been so excited to send them back to school. They are all going back in person. At the same time, as a mother, I obviously have huge concerns. As a mother who gave birth in the Northeast, my life has gone from, do you have your keys, do you have your wallet, do you have your backpack, to now, do you have a mask? So just make sure that, you know, you're reinforcing that with all your members, with your customers, your clients. This is not a political issue. This is a let's get back to business issue.
Without a doubt, certainly. And Margy, also we were talking about what I guess came to light is that we were probably thinking that we were going to see a reduction in the number of realtors in the state. And just like our business has seemed to start a surge, that with the Pearson VUE and all of that opening up, and yes, of course, we'll always see some that just are struggling and can't, but then we're seeing the excitement of new professionals coming in. And so I'm wondering, did that surprise you guys a little bit too?
You know, one of the things I treasure the most is my ongoing dialogue with the brokers. And I was actually with a large group of them this week. And what was interesting to me was an issue that's old is new again. And I was being asked about a copyright issue that, if any of you remember, I went from one end of the state to the other about 5 years ago, pleading with all of you not to steal other people's pictures because it was a violation of copyright law. And the brokers were again talking about this issue. And I think it's a reflection of exactly that, Mr. District Vice President, is it's a reflection of the fact that we have so many new members that from an educational standpoint, we are going to restart the dialogue on some of those issues that I hate to say we kind of put to bed thinking, no, we've covered that. We need to bring them back and, you know, double down on that education because we have so many new people in the field. We need to remind the brokers, hey, if you're having an office meeting, please make sure you're covering these 3 things and making sure that they understand what this is, because our new ones haven't necessarily, you know, heard me preach it.
Excellent, thank you. Let's see. I'm trying to check. I don't see any questions. Oh, you covered it all to perfection.
Well, listen, you know, shout out to your entire district. I hope you all know how hard Mark has worked this year. I think that so many people thought that when we entered this pandemic, so many of the volunteers were not going to have a lot to do. We have kept them very, very busy. So whether it was the waterway cleanup or the biweekly statewide caucuses, your district vice president has been at every single event, online, ready to report, keeping all of you connected. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's certainly been an honor. It's not over yet. And hopefully in January, we'll get the engine started again and in Orlando and have that new kind of refreshed feeling going into the next year. Hopefully we can
Let's
get
hope.
there. We certainly do. And you're getting a lot of hugs from Key West, from everywhere around our district, and thank you as well. So Letty, Teresa, is there anything else we want to go to Margy for?
I think I would just ask Margy to, we asked Barry Grooms to do a pitch for our first ever virtual state convention. And, you know, we've got all the meetings that have already started, I think, as part of the convention, some of the committees. Any pointers, tips, suggestions, requests that you have for, we have 53 leaders from all of District 4 on here listening to you.
Absolutely. So all of you have a huge online social media presence, and we interact daily, and I love it. Barry Grooms did a short but very informative video. I'm happy to put it in the chat as soon as we pause, but what I would love to see is you all share that video on social media and encourage people to register and emphasize that it is free. It is, you know, I'm very, very proud of the fact that an association our size can bring a 4-day event with CE to the members for free. Right now, registration has exceeded 4,000 people. That's in less than 2 weeks since we launched. But it's one of those things where it's a time to connect and to provide value to the members. So if you would all share that video, I think it would be a great opportunity for you to connect with the people in your circles, in your brokerages, to get them interested in attending, even a portion of it.
Definitely. We'll get it out there. You know we will. We will get the word out. And thank you again to Teresa for reminding us of that. And that is huge. And again, so let's get the word out, guys. Let's get to that goal. And it's not just about the number, but it's about sharing, and it's about also building new relationships. And you'll be connecting with other realtors around the state. And going back to the very first time I've ever attended one, to looking forward to next week and getting geared up after today to committees and starting to get my own think tank going on what's going to be important and relevant to bring to the table in the committees. And this is how all the associations and all the organizations build future leaders and work so great with our Florida Realtors, professionals and leadership. And that's what it's all about. And that's what makes us all great. So again, we thank you, Margy. We look forward to everything that's going to happen with the conference. And we did mention earlier, you weren't on, about Silent Angels, and we do want to promote that. Christina brought it forward. We'll be sending that out. We want to make sure that we can get the help to those that have needed it. I've personally seen realtors get help at really desperate times, as you know, in the past, but especially now. And for those of you that are new to this, you know, at the conference, we pass out envelopes and everybody throws some cash or a check, and it goes to the cause. And in the past, there have been realtors that have needed medication or surgeries or things that have really been dire, and this has been able to help them. And I can tell you again, knowing from a personal experience of a realtor who did get affected by COVID, and how that jumping in really did save their family. So we really want to get that out about Silent Angels, because it's going to be more needed, I think, now than ever. And as a group, as an organization, we've always jumped in, whether there's been a hurricane, you know, flooding, devastation, and this is our time now. So we're going to ask you to do that as well. So please, if you can, you'll know that you're helping somebody. I guarantee you that.
Thank you.
Awesome. So Letty, with that, I wanted to also ask everybody that's on, we want to hear your feedback. We want to know about next year and how we can get the planning. I know Letty's probably going to say, what is he doing? We're talking about next year already. But this is a massive, massive kind of project that everybody works on together within the 4 organizations that make up our amazing district. So Letty, you know, we thank you again, and I know you'll send out the survey request, but guys, we want to hear from you, and you can take the time. We have some time, and if you want to throw your questions or comments into the chat of something that maybe you would really love to see next year, so that we can get that to the team and to DVP George Guerra for next year.
And so Letty tells that the evaluations have been going out every day, Letty?
Yes.
Yes, the evaluations have been sent every day at the end of the conference for the day. They get the opportunity to complete their information. I'll be sending them one for today shortly, and I've added some additional questions for things for next year, what they want to see.
That would be great.
And then also, I did post in the chat, but the videos are all going to be available for you for the district conference. David Garcia, our guru for videos and the web and about everything else, has edited day one, and it's already posted at district4conference.com for the number, district number 4, district4conference.com. And then after today's program, he will have yesterday and today's programs posted there very shortly, probably by the end of the day, or even though tomorrow is Saturday, he would have them posted by then. And remind you again that please fill out those evaluations that Letty has sent to you to tell us what you liked best about this year's programming, and also what to consider for future programming, because that's very helpful to us. You already have 2 of those evaluations in your mailbox. Letty, what happens if they don't have those and need to respond for the last 2 days or all 3 days?
What I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll resend the prior 2 days in one same email.
Excellent. And then Margy Grant posted in the chat the video for Florida Realtors, because we all want to share that. And I know each of our associations will be posting it, and we'll make sure that the share button is live. So that would be another easy way for you guys to be able to do that. I did want to mention to you the Silent Angels, and our association decided a number of years ago to make an annual commitment, a healthy commitment, that we write the check every single year for it. But one of the things Phyllis Choi mentioned is that during the latest floods in Hobe Sound impacted one of our realtors, and Silent Angels jumped right in, and they've helped so many people. It's really important for all of us. Mark, we'll turn it back to you for asking for more suggestions and comments on this year as well.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Teresa. So does anybody have any suggestions that you'd like to put into the chat right now? We'd love to hear from you. Please go ahead. And I know Wayne Carter said he would love for us to still be able to host it here, somewhere here, whether in Miami or in Broward. And that would be wonderful. We'd love that. We'd love to host it and really, really show you what can be done here as well. So Wayne, we did hear you and saw that. And thank you for that. It looks, Letty, can you post the link for the videos as well from Lori?
Yes.
Hi, Lori. Yes, of course.
Everything will be posted on district4conference.com, as well as the presentations.
Excellent.
Yes, and for Miami members, we're also posting them in MiamiRealtorsLive.com. But since that's a members only site, we made sure that we first posted them to district4conference.com. And I did post it in there, but I will add it again.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. So it looks like we can wrap up. So guys, again, we thank you to the 4 CEOs, to Teresa, to Wayne, to Linda, to Darla, to all the presidents, the elects, everyone that participated and supported and has been here. It's been a true honor these last few days to be with you, to listen. I must tell you that the feedback's been great, and we thank you for all the great words. And kind of we're a little worried or cautious about how it would go. That I think when Barry talked about how Florida Realtors is going to do such a far greater job than NAR, and I don't think NAR heard any of that, but I think, again, with Letty, with everyone behind the scenes, I think we really, really showed them that we can do anything when we put our our hearts, our minds, our think tanks together. And our goal was, whether you're a brand new realtor and this is where your first time attending the District 4 conference, or one of our wonderful seasoned professionals and past leaders and people that have served, that we all walked away with something that we can use, that we can take back, that we can share it to your brokers, to your managers, with your teams, with every part of it, whether it's in commercial, residential, it really doesn't matter. And that, of course, you've heard so many times that we are essential, you are essential, and we're going to keep that commitment strong. We're going to get to the end of the year and kind of flow right into the new year, I think. And I must tell you that I feel that being on Zoom and actually staying focused the entire time and being able to take great notes has a lot of benefit. And I called Danielle Claremont last night and just kind of picked her brain a little, as I often do, and said, you know, kind of on the other side of it, and said, hey, this really was good. I learned, I took notes, and this was great. And I said, it makes us think about how we can do things in the future. So with that, we're going to say goodbye for now. Teresa,
Mark?
yes, please.
I just realized that I wanted to say a special thanks to all of our national and our local and regional speakers, and a special shout out to our Miami YPNs and the president, Peter Ortega, President-elect Bethany Martinez, and their entire team, who did such a great job of programming. And they've been doing that for, I think, almost 5 years now. Yes. And they stepped up to the plate again, and they were amazing. So thanks a lot, Miami YPN.
Thank you to all of you guys. And Peter was a phenomenal, as I said, co-pilot, stepped right in. It wasn't rehearsed. This all just came together, and it was very natural, and it was fun. And that's what we need to do. We want to keep smiling and seeing some of the new up and coming YPN leadership members, volunteers that took time out to put together programs and share with you what some of the dynamic things that they do, the tools. It's just, it's so heartwarming. And again, we can't thank you enough. And really, Letty, hats off. I don't know how you did it. You said, when I texted you yesterday about what I was getting involved in for the day, and you said, welcome to my Miami day, I really believe that. And we can't thank you enough, and just hope that everybody stays safe, healthy, and prosperous. So with that, guys, congratulations. Thanks for making it a great conference, a great year. And we better see you at Florida Realtors Conference somewhere. Be there. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you all.
Bye.